In this video, I'm going to show you how you can change your engine oil and engine oil filter on a 2020 Nissan Altima. So the first step is to pop your hood. There's a hood release on the driver's side footwell. And then you'll go ahead and you'll raise the hood just a little bit and press this tab towards the passenger side. You'll see this little yellow piece here, which will unlatch your hood. Then you can go ahead and secure the hood up with your hood prop. And on the passenger side of the hood, there's a little arrow that tells you where the sucker's going to go. Now you want to go ahead and check your oil level before you get any further, because you want to see what the oil level and the oil condition is prior to changing it. This will tell you if you're burning any oil, and you want to be on a smooth surface. Smooth flat surface. So as you can see here, the oil is just below the fill line, which is perfect, and the color is pretty standard for when you want to change the oil. So this thing is looking good. Health of the motor looks great. To gain access to the oil filter, you're going to have to remove the engine skirt underneath the car. We're currently on top of the vehicle, and I'm just going to show you very easily how you remove these clips. And you just literally go in there with a little screwdriver, pop it up, and then you pull the centerpiece out and it'll pull the rest of the clip out. How this clip works is when you press the tab down, it expands these little pieces right here, and this is what actually hooks into the panel, which keeps the panel securely engaged. So you're going to see this underneath the car along with some bolts, but I want to show you guys on top of the car where we could get a really good camera angle. To reinstall this clip, what you'll do is you'll make sure that that center piece is punched all the way out. So you can take a screwdriver and press it out, and that allows these to be compressed. So then what you do is you'll go ahead and just slip it back into the hole, rotating it and crunching it. Give it a little wiggle and a press, and now that panel's secure again. So now we're going to go underneath the car and show you how to take down that front skirt. So to remove this panel here, you've got to remove a bunch of different clips, and they're held in with two 10mm bolts at the very front, and then those clips that we just showed you how to do also get removed. So you'll go ahead and start pulling those little clips so that you can remove down this belly pan and give the thorough inspection that is required, as well as going ahead and changing your filter. So make sure that you keep these all in a safe place. It is a bit tedious, but they come out very nicely. As the car ages, these will break, so you'll want to go ahead and order some of these on hand when you get into the 60,000 to 70,000 mile range, because they will fail to withstand the rigors of disassembly as time goes on. So I remove the plastic panels first, and you just go around in a circle and get them all off. Make sure I'm not blocking you with my hat. And you don't have to pry too hard on these. If you do, you can break them. I'm just very gently getting underneath them and peeling them up. And we're getting closer to that finish line here of dropping that panel. And I removed the panel clips first. And the reason I do that is this is one's being a little difficult. This is one that you could break if you're not being careful. So you just want to go around it, because dirt and debris and grime and stuff gets in there and keeps it from coming out. So we'll go ahead and just make sure that's clean when we reinstall it. So we'll make sure we've got, let's see here, 1 and 2 more. Alrighty, and then we can double check. Now we just have two 10mm bolts to remove. Again, they're 10mm. and then support it because you don't want the plastic to be stressed. And lower it down, and then you can slide the panel out of the way, which will expose your trans pan and your oil pan for your motor. We have our 24 quart oil pan that I picked up from Advanced Auto Parts. It's just a Flow Pro or a Flow tool, and you'll just go ahead and remove the 14mm oil drain pan plug. And again, somebody over torqued it. We'll go ahead and just let that drain out. And I'll use this opportunity to shine a light to see if there's any sort of discoloration or metal. And I don't see any. This just looks like dirty engine oil, and it's time that it was replaced. A great opportunity to check to see if your vehicle has any sort of leaks would be right now. We can see here on this pan here that somebody didn't remove it when they were doing either the full oil change and or removing the oil filter itself. A lot of times what you'll see is somebody will just unbolt the front or the back of the cover, where this is towards the back, this is towards the front. They'll unbolt just the back, and then this can flex just a little bit. They'll pull it down, and that is how you will get all this sort of debris here. So you want to go ahead and clean this up, because this is the easiest way to tell if you have any sort of leak on your vehicle when you're doing an oil change. You'll pull this panel off. If it's dirty, you'll know you got a leak. So I'm going to go ahead and clean up all this grime before we reinstall it. As this is continuing to drain, I'm going to go ahead and remove my filter, which is located just here towards the front of the subframe here, or engine cradle. I'm going to go ahead and move my pan into position so I can capture all the oil. I'm just using a set of pliers here, and it's lefty-loosey, righty-tighty. This was also put on very, very snugly. So we're just going to go ahead and back this baby off. And then we can grab it with our hands. Once it's loose, it should leak a little bit, so you just go ahead and let it drain out. On this car, you're lucky there's nothing to get in the way, so you don't have to worry about it. But this is where we could see that the dust pan, or the underneath pan, had some material on it because they didn't want to pull it all the way down to change the oil. Just signs that somebody's rushing through a job and not looking it over properly. Go ahead and drop that the rest of the way down, and we'll grab our new filter. So we're going to go ahead and replace the oil filter using part number 85358. And what I like to do is just take a little bit of clean oil and wipe it around this O-ring right here, and also make sure that the old O-ring came off the old oil filter. You don't want those to double up, it will leak. Just wiping new oil, fresh oil on the ring, and then in for installation. I'll go ahead and just thread it on gently. I'm going to wipe the surface off too. Make sure it's clean, and then reinstall my new filter that has a little ring of oil on it on that O-ring. What I like to do is get it to the point where it's nice and snug, where it's like on there, it's now making contact, and then I do another 3/4 of a turn, which gets me to nice and snug and tight, and something that will be able to be removed by the next mechanic. Reinstall the oil drain pan plug, which has a copper crush washer, and I'll go ahead and just put this in here. You guys can order that copper crush washer kit from Advanced Auto or Amazon, your choice, but they are good to have handy. And we'll go ahead and snug it up, going between 18 and 20 foot-pounds. And leaving it nice and snug. Wipe it clean. We'll go ahead on top of the motor now and add our oil back in. All right, so we can go ahead and remove this panel if we're having difficulty reaching our hand in there. To remove the oil fill cap, just grab it and twist it. Comes right off. And you can just put this off to the side here, and then you can fill this up. Best if you use a funnel. However, I will say, a quick tip here. A lot of people will fill their engine oil using the incorrect method. So this is about as far as I can tip my bottle if I'm going this way. This is the incorrect to fill it. What you want to do is you want to come this way, because then what you can do is you can go even closer. So I'll show you the angle again. Now we can get even closer to the fill port and the valve cover. You see how we're almost at a vertical here and you're not spilling? Well, maybe a little bit. So this is the right way that you're supposed to fill it, because if you go the other way, you're gonna have to turn it a whole heck of a lot less before oil starts coming out. So this is the right way to use your fill. And if you look on the bottle, there's a little diagram showing you how it's done. So this is the proper way to fill your motor oil out of a 1 quart jug. And let me get my little mistake cleaned up here. Trey will probably leave that in. No cut magic there. So once you have finished putting in 5 quarts of oil, you go ahead and put your cap back on and then start your engine and recheck your oil. But we're just gonna go ahead and do a real quick check. Wipe it, put it back in, and pull it right back out. And you'll see here we are just below the fill line, which is where you want to be. So I'll go ahead and put this baby back in. We'll start the engine and we'll check for leaks underneath the car. All right, so to reassemble this, I'm just going to start at the front with our 2 front wing areas. I'm just going to put this 10mm bolt back into position and turn it by hand until I get it thread started. I feel them bite, then I'll come to the other side. I'll do the same thing. Come to the other side, I'll do the same thing. And just get the thread started. And then I'll go ahead taking my 13 clips, making sure that the tabs are pulled back. And I'm actually going to start in the rear and work my way to the front. So I'm going to press the tab up, have it in position, and reinstall the clip, lock it in, and then I'm just going to work my way around the underbelly pan. And if you're having difficulty, just make sure that clip's pulled all the way back. Slip it in and work your way around. One's here. This is lucky number 13. Flip it in and snug up your 10mm. One here, snug up your other 10mm bolt. So you'll have your 2 10mm bolts all snugged up. The last thing to do is just to check your oil level one more time. Now we do have it at a bit of an angle because it's up on ramp, so it's going to read a little bit lower than it should. But you want to make sure that you're just underneath this dot right here, which is the full line. We're about there. If this was flat, we should be good. So we're all good here, no need to top it off. She's nice, full, and good. We'll go ahead and put our cover back on, which is held on by these little ball studs here. There's 4 of them, and you can see on the back side of the engine cover, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 rubber grommets. You'll locate it as such, and feel around, and just gently press it back down on, and this back one's on. Give a little tug test, and she's all good. At this point, we'll go ahead and shut the hood, take the hot hood prop off, bring it down to just about 12 inches above, and you can just drop it, and she's shut.